What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Night Owls, your daily one-stop shop for all things FAU. We come to you 7 days a week with FAU episodes. And today, we're joined by CSG FAU. First off, CSG FAU has been absolutely killing it on social media, giving you updates on the FAU Owls. So for more content, go over to his page. But CSG FAU, I first off want to ask you, what made you want to start your own FAU account, and why are you such a big FAU fan?
That's an easy one. First and foremost, I'm addicted to college football. I feel like I get it from my dad. Like he tried to really instill it in me when I was young, and it kind of just like overnight when I started college at FAU, I just became addicted. Whether it was like the basketball run in 2023, like and coming transfer portal scouting, I want to know who's on our roster before then. I just overnight, I feel like I just became addicted to it. And then CSG, they put out a post not too long ago, seeing about who wants to run certain accounts. I put my name up there, and rest is history. And we've been balling out ever since.
I think we can all relate to you with being addicted to college football because I certainly am, and I'm sure a bunch of viewers are as well. Because how couldn't you be? It's the best sport on earth. Let's first go over some of the stats of yesterday's game here, where we saw FAU win 27-21 over Rice. Caden Velkamp had a very solid night, 23 for 33, 290 yards, 3 touchdowns, and just 1 interception. Easton Messer again dominating, showing he's the number one threat on this team. 11 catches, 110 yards. Xavier Terrell does need a few more games, that I want to see out of him. He did have a really nice game with Jamari Sands going down, but still only 3.5 yards to carry. And then we were really able to stop Rice's rushing attack for the most part. We knew what they were going to give us with the triple option. CSG, I want to ask you, what are some of your takeaways from last night's game, looking at the box score and some of the stats?
First and foremost, I have to give props to Zach Kinley as the head coach. He mentioned last week's presser versus Memphis that we needed to get better at stopping the run, and to go into Rice's home field on a run heavy team and to apply their of the week practice and see that pan out in the game where we're holding Rice to only so many to only so many rush yards. It just absolutely it's amazing. Gone are the days where we have these pressers from our previous head coaches, and this is not to throw shade on anyone in particular, but gone are the days where we would see them talk about, oh, we need to fix this. We need to apply this to our game going into the game next week, and then nothing changes. We talked about how we needed our rush defense to be on lock and to actually get us into this game to keep us obviously defensively competitive. And that's exactly what we did against Rice. We made this team look, because say what you want about Rice as a college football team, but they have been looking better in this year than recent years. So I was honestly a little skeptical going into this game, but the fact that we held them to only 21 points is absolutely amazing. And it sort of reinforces my faith in not only just Zach Kinley, but also our defensive coordinators and our defensive coaches doing an excellent job making sure our players are conditioned going into this game. That's definitely something I just got to mention.
100% CSG, and actions speak louder than words. And it's one thing to say something in a press conference, and it's another to show it on the field and absolutely dominate a team on the road and stop the run. So I definitely agree with you there on that front of it. And, stopping the run, as you mentioned, was huge. We let up 350 rushing yards to Memphis. The fact that we knew they were going to run the ball 40 times a game, and we stopped it for the most part was very good. And that we do need to give credit to Coach Dewhurst, our defensive coordinator, to Coach Santana, our D-line coach. Great game plan there. They were practicing the triple option in practice, and the fact that we could display that on the field in Houston just makes me that much more happy with this team. Now let's get into the main topic of the show, our Overreaction Sundays. I'm going to go one by one to CSG FAU, ask him what he thinks about it and if it's fact or fiction. So let's get into the first overreaction here, which is, if you guys can see my screen here, Caden Velkamp is a top 3 quarterback in the American Conference.
Oof. I'm going to have to go with my heart. I'm going to say that's fact. I'm going to say that's definitely fact. If we look at See, now, if you ask me that question in week 1 or week 2, I would absolutely disagree with you. I'd say that's fiction and that you're just reading nothing but high fantasy. But what we've seen in these past few games, whether we want to talk about Memphis, especially if we want to talk about Rice, it's just been absolutely like night and day. Like the improvement game to game has been absolutely stellar, and I'm loving what I'm seeing from Caden Velkamp. 69.7% completion rating yesterday, 290 passing yards with 3 touchdowns. Absolutely just blew me out of the water for what I think he could do, because I thought Rice was going to bring the pressure, put him into some uncomfortable scenarios. I thought they wanted to honestly kind of force some more picks, because this Rice team definitely has had a sort of higher pick percentage that I've been like reading into before we came in today. But the composure I've seen from Caden Velkamp absolutely leads me to believe that he's definitely a top 3 in the AAC right now. Would I put him at number 1? I can't necessarily say. I'm still pretty high on Byron Brown. I'm also really, really high on North Texas's quarterback. Remind me his name again. What's his name? Let's see. Do you remember his name off the top of your head?
Drew Messmaker, North Texas.
Yes,
Were you
Messmaker.
saying North Texas or Tulane?
I would say North Texas, right now, because his quarterback game overall has just been really solid, getting that team to 5-0. But yeah, I put that would be my top 3 on the totem pole, and then obviously I would probably have like Tulane and Temple at 4 and 5 for me, respectively. Some might call that bias. I call it. I'm just looking at the stats. I mean, he has the highest throw attempt. He has obviously the highest attempts, but he also has the highest reception, and right now the highest yards per game on average, if I'm reading this stat correctly, in all of the American Conference. So, I mean, the stats kind of lead him there. Obviously, haven't been able to. I feel like the beginning of the season kind of like really stunts him as a quarterback in my eyes, partially. But you have to get familiar with the system. First year head coach, you got to make some adjustments, get ready with your roster, and we're seeing that pan out obviously as these games preside and keep going. So yeah, definitely have him top 3.
Yeah, as you mentioned, he does have the most pass attempts in the conference, but he also has the most passing yards with 1,497 yards. So I also am going to say that is a fact, in my opinion. My top 3 would be number 1, Brendan Lewis from Memphis. I think he's been very solid. And then, you got to put Byron Brown at 2. Then Velkamp at 3, and then you could either put Metzmaker from North Texas or Jake Retzlaff from Tulane at the 4 and 5 spot interchangeably. But in my opinion, I think that is certainly a fact. Let's get to the next overreaction here on this Sunday, and I'll pull it up just right here in a second, ladies and gentlemen, which is, hold on, tell me when you see it on your screen, everyone. This team will win 6 games, sorry about that there, and make a bowl game.
I want to go with fact on this one. Like I kind of to the same cadence as I had said earlier. If you'd asked me week 2 or 3, I would have said I wouldn't know. But as I see this team improve before my very eyes, I would definitely have to say yes. This is absolute fact. We are definitely going to make it to a bowl game this year. If we look at the spread and we look at just what we have in front of us, we have UAB this upcoming Saturday. Then you have South Florida, Navy, Tulsa, Tulane, UConn, and East Carolina. By all stretches of the means, it is not the easiest last 7 games of the year, but it is a winnable last 7 games, or at least enough to get us to 6. If I had to walk down each pick prediction, I want to say, give me obviously Florida Atlantic over UAB next Saturday. Give us the South Florida game is really interesting, especially if they're going to remain ranked over with a win over North Texas this upcoming Saturday. If they can keep that, obviously they'll move up in the rankings a little bit there. I would love nothing more under the stars than to get an FAU year 1 Zach Kittley ranked win over South Florida, especially because they went to our house last year and absolutely just made a fool of us. I kind of want a sort of a 2023 dynamic coming in where we just absolutely blew the doors off of them. I want to see that happen again, because obviously it did us to last year. But if I can confidently say that might be a loss. But moving forward from there, Navy, I feel like we definitely have a chance against them in their triple option, especially after how we performed against Rice and their triple option. I'm really, really confident in that. Not as confident as I thought I would have been going into. And then we have Tulsa. That can definitely be a win. Tulane, honestly, given the momentum, that could probably be that's leaning towards a loss. But hey, we'll have to see. Momentum's a hell of a thing. It can make a team go do absolutely amazing things. And then UConn, East Carolina, I could definitely see us winning to obviously beat the 6, maybe even 7 or 8 wins at the end of the season. I definitely think we could do it.
I agree with you on that part for sure. Now, our next overreaction here is that Zach Kelly is the best coach since Lane Kiffin. Before we get to that, I'll give my thoughts. I think that this team winning 6 games is possible. I see a path to it, but it may be a little bit too soon. It's a 6-point win over Rice. I don't know if I'm going to jump the gun on it. We still have Tulane. We still have South Florida on the schedule. And I can see those 2 losses being automatic 2 losses. And that gives very little wiggle room for FAU to slip up later in the season. So I'm going to go fiction. I think that 5 wins, I'd be very happy with this season. It's year 1, but 6 wins could definitely happen. It's one of those things where it's very close. If we win versus UAB, I'm starting to think that it's more and more possible, and the path is there. Our next overreaction. Zach Kelly is the best coach since Lane Kiffin. Now, the last 2 seasons, FAU has started 1-3, and they've won that fourth game of the season to go 2-3 every single year. So it may be a bit of an overreaction after 1 win to say Zach Kelly is 100% better than both Tom Herman, Willie Taggart, or the 2 coaches that have come after Kiffin left to Ole Miss. What do you think on this one? Are you ready to confidently say that Kelly's the best coach since Kiffin?
I would love to, but I'm going to have to go fiction on this one. Sort of to the same cadence of what you were saying with the second overreaction. It's a little too early to tell. If we can get to that 5 or 6 win margin, I'll be happy enough and maybe even glad enough to say that, yes, Zach Kittley, we can entertain him as being, yes, one of the best, if not the best coach we've had since Lane Kiffin's departure. If I had to give it sort of a bracket, if we get to 6 wins, I'll be happy. Obviously, get us to a bowl game, and I don't even know how long. As long as I've been in college, it'd be the first time I've seen us go to a bowl game. But if we can manage to scrape off a 7 or even 8 wins, win one of these games, we're definitely not supposed to. I'm very comfortable saying that he will be, but right now I gotta go with fiction. And the stats and everything that I've seen starting for the beginning of the year is just not enough for me to say concretely.
Yeah, I 100% actually agree with you for sure. You know, it's 1 FBS win in total. The only coach to lose to FIU since Kiffin left, and Kiffin even didn't lose to FIU, which, you know, if we take last year's team, a lot of people are saying we're 3-2 because we would have beaten FIU last year, and the schedule has been that much easier last year than it is this year for sure. But yeah, as you mentioned, you know, it's close. If Zach Kelly can get to 5 or 6 wins, I can confidently say he will be because it's year 1 and he's already succeeding. And, you know, Tom Herman, 7 wins in 2 years. Willie Taggart, not too successful of a career, 15 wins in 3 seasons. Never made a bowl game for him either. So for me, it's fiction. I'm not ready to jump the gun on it. I think it's definitely an overreaction for that. But our next overreaction here, which is Easton Messer, is the best FAU wide receiver of all time. And I know what you're saying. Why is this even an overreaction? There's no way he's the best FAU receiver of all time. But through his first 5 games, he has had better stats than any other FAU receiver. 48 catches in 5 games, 473 yards, a touchdown, and averaging 10 yards a catch. Just think about it. 48 catches in 5 games. He's averaging over 8 receptions a game. Over 9 receptions a game. So Easton Messer has definitely been the guy who Caden Belkamp has trusted the most in the receiver room. But is this a fact or a fiction for you, CSG?
I want to say this is a fiction, definitely a fiction for me. And that's no shade at all to Easton Messer. But there is a large but here. When I think all-time wide receivers, I'm getting all these names that are coming to me. And then I also, before I even put in a different name, I have to interject and say, for me personally, from the stats that I'm seeing, the stats spread that I'm seeing, I look to Asad Wasim actually as the best wide receiver of at least this season. Because if the conversation is Easton Messert already with the first 5 game spread, is he already the best wide receiver of FEU all time? No, because I don't even think he's even the best wide receiver that we have on roster. I look over to Asad Wasim, 18 receptions only, but for 273 yards, the average of 15.2 and 4 touchdowns. That in and of itself is an amazing stat line. And I ask myself here, if I'm putting Assad in Easton's shoes here, I give Assad 48 receptions. What do his stats look like, and how do they compare? I mean, automatically, he's already doing amazing. We have to. Of course, we always want to compare because it's a great thing to do in sports talk and in like just the sports world. But we also have to compare that they are also working 2 compartmentally different sort of positions. Easton's definitely going to be running some of your more short slants, some of your more close runs. And even sometimes he also we haven't really seen him run like a full running back position, but we know he is capable of taking those hits and kind of running up the middle compared to an Asad Wasim that we definitely know is more and if not most comfortable in your traditional run your long routes, run your medium routes of at least 10 to 15 yards, maybe 8 on a carry, and see what your legs can do for you afterwards. That's definitely where I would lead personally. I'm also just a big Asad Wasim fan myself. If I had to be so serious, I've been following him since Colorado, so I'm really glad to see him kind of pop off and do what he's been doing, and he's been popping off. But what do you think?
That's definitely a hot take, CSG. Me personally, I wouldn't say that Asad Wasim has been the best receiver on the roster. I think if you want to identify it and look at it pure talent-wise, then yes, he might be. But you mentioned it. Asad Wasim has 18 catches. Easton Messer has 48. And you said per catch, Asad Wasim has been better. But you have to get open to get catches. And Asad Wasim has only been open 18 times to get receptions. Easton Messer has been open 48 times. So the fact that he's able to create separation, I know you mentioned it's more so on slants, more screens that he's being utilized than the deep ball, which we're seeing more of Jay Sean Platt, Dom Henry, Asad Wasim, sometimes J.R. Wilson. But, to me, the more so question is right now, is he the best? No. But I think he'll end up being the best. I think he's going to break LeJohntay Wester's receiving, reception, yards, and catches that LeJohntay has had. I think overall, he is, as long as Caden Bellkemp is the quarterback and as long as both of them return for their senior year, which we can't, expect that modern day of college football anymore. You never know. Another school could poach these guys during the offseason. But if he does stay, in my opinion, Easton Messer is going to be the best FAU receiver of all time. And I know that is a crazy hot take. Let's get to our final overreaction here on this Sunday, which is the run game is a problem going forward. And what this means is that if FAU can't fix the run game, they are single-handedly going to be losing games.
I'd have to go fact. I'd have to go fact. I hate to talk bad about my favorite team, but yeah, you're absolutely right. From what we've seen I don't think it's necessarily a problem from. It's because it's not just a one-player issue. Obviously your explosive talent will be able to, put up numbers no matter what the conditions are. But at the end of the day, football is a team sport. You have to have the entire roster that can build up and give you those opportunities to have those big explosive runs, or at least just have a better average for the run game. And I absolutely can agree. Yes, the run game is a problem. I get it. We're also in an air raid offense. But every once in a while, you have to be able to convert those 3rd and 4s, 3rd and 5s, where you should be comfortable in the run game to at least barely get those 3 to 4 yards that you need. But the fact that I don't know exactly our stats. I don't know if you have a stats of our run game, but I know from at least from the last 2 games that it has not been the greatest. I haven't seen too much information on our last run game performance versus Rice, but I also know it was mostly just dominant from the air, just from our throwing game, which I understand we're comfortable with Caden. But what happens if Caden's out for 2 plays, 3 plays, hell, even a game? What do we do then? It's pretty much up in the air from there. What do you think, though?
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think Jamari Sands, our lead back, being hurt is definitely contributing to the fact that our running game hasn't been going. But Xavier Terrell and Caden Shields Dunn haven't performed up to the expectations that we've all thought coming into the season. We expected this to be a three-headed monster that we were going to lean on the
That's what
running
they
game
kept saying.
when we wanted to in opposing teams' red zones, and we just haven't been able to do that. Going back to the Memphis game, Caden Velkamp was the leading rusher. You can't have your quarterback as the leading rusher and expect to win football games. Then, going to this game, 3.5 yards a carry against a Rice defense who ranked second in passing defense. We wanted to run the ball. That was the game plan going into the game, and we gave the rock to Xavier 20 times, but only 3.5 yards a carry, 68 rushing yards for him. Not the most positive there from Xavier Terrell, from Caden Shields Dunn. But I want to see Caden Shields Dunn get the ball more, because Caden Shields Dunn got the ball a lot in the Maryland game, and he looked very good. And I get it.
Absolutely.
He's a third back heading into the season. You know, he's a true sophomore. He doesn't have as much experience as some of the other guys, but still, in my opinion, I think he's the most talented back according to high school scouting stats. That certainly backs it up. And I want to see him get involved. Hopefully, Jamari's back for the UAB game. Heard he's day-to-day on that for sure.
Yeah.
But to go over our thoughts for number one, CSG says it is a fact for Caden Velkamp doing a top 3 quarterback in the American Conference. I also say fact for number 2. This team will win 6 games. CSG says fact. I also say, I actually say fiction for this one. I say if we beat UAB, it's a fact. But right now, after the Rice game, to me, it is a fiction. The third one, Zach Kelly is the best coach since Lane Kiffin. CSG says it's fiction. So do I. Number 4, Easton Messer, best wide receiver of all time in FAU. I think he will be. I say fact. CSG says fiction. And for the last one, the run game is problematic. Me and CSG both say it is a fact. So, for everyone who made it this far, thank you so much for watching. It is your daily podcast. Make sure to subscribe to today's video. But CSG, where can everyone find you if they're FAU fans and want to see more content?
Easy. All they have to do is look me up on Twitter, which is at CSGFAU. And that's pretty much the only place I'm active currently. I've thought about maybe starting an Instagram, but as of right now, I'll just keep it on Twitter because that's the most active place to find pretty much any sports news and in the moment sports sort of interactivity. So right now, just Twitter.
And make sure to give him a follow over on X. Great FAU content. You're going to see daily posts. Already reached 200 followers for him in just under 2 months. So he's been killing it over on the FAU side of things. If you really want to see more, I really recommend it. So make sure to sign off this video right now and follow him on X. And for me, JJ Metz, you can find me at JJ Metz FAU on X for some FAU updates. But that'll do it for today's video. We hope you enjoyed. Let us know your comments down below. Do you think these are fact or fiction overreactions? And we'll see y'all in Monday's episode. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, go Owls.
Go Owls.